What is up, survivors? We are back on Genesis 2 for another 101, and for today's episode we're going to be talking about mutagen, mutagel, how to find it, where to get it, easiest ways, hardest ways, a little bit of everything. So there's a few different ways you can get this stuff, and we're going to go through all that right now. First and foremost, out here in the asteroid belt. Plenty of other videos to talk about this. This isn't really going to be too terribly uncommon thing to find. So, when you see white loot drops spawning outside in either biome, whether it be in Eden or in Rockwell's garden, you will come out in the asteroid belt and you will see these sandstone little rocks that look similar to wind sulfurs out here, but it won't be. You'll see these rocks out here. These rocks will give you stone, ambergris, and then also occasionally it'll give you mutagel. So you get a little bit of it. Depending on what you're using, you'll harvest a little bit more. You can use a pick, hatchet, blah, blah, blah. You can use a mining drill to do this as well. Harvesting dinos, you could have like a mantis out here that will, a mantis that with like pickaxes will do this too. And as you notice, like sometimes when you hit these rocks, they're not going to give you mutagel. It's a small percentage chance. So that can be a little bit daunting to come out here and harvest this stuff because you need a crap ton for this to work right. And of course, I am full on amber really quickly. So I've only gotten 13 of the mutagel so far. The problem with this mutagel, you're going to use mutagel to tame striders, you're going to use it for a couple of other things, but primarily you're going to be turning the mutagel into mutagen. Now the mutagen can be used to mutate creatures, it can be used to tame void worms. It's fairly useful, especially with giving them mutations to like the auto stat upgrades to your dinos, which is essentially what you're going to do with it. You need 800 mutagel to get 6 mutagen. So the conversion rate is incredibly difficult, and you're going to find yourself driving yourself fairly crazy out here harvesting this. Now, there's two other ways to get this stuff, and we're going to talk about that as well. But first and foremost, I wanted to start with out here. So harvesting can be kind of a pain depending on the creature that you're using. If you're running out here with like an Anklo or a Dodecurus or something that harvests all this stuff, you can use animal tames. Best bet, in my experience so far, is to get a strider with an excavation rig. Because the strider can hit so many of these rocks at one time, it's a lot easier. Because you're not necessarily guaranteed to find mutagen off of each one of these. A strider with an excavator rig harvesting out here is probably your best bet. With that being said, the other thing to talk about, and I talked about this in the space sort of biome overview that you want to pay attention to as well, and this is the thing that I would definitely draw emphasis to that I don't know if it gets drawn emphasis to as much as it probably should. Pay attention to the missions that you can do inside of Genesis 2. The rewards for some of these missions are definitely worth it. Really what you want to pay attention to are the slipstream sweep, which is the one where you race the Maywing through the canyons. Regardless of which version of this you do, it will make the natural resources replenish faster in your area. So what this will do is obviously make those rocks that you're harvesting come back more often and more quickly. So what this means is that you don't have to bounce between so many asteroids to harvest all this stuff, making it a little bit easier as far as travel distance between all these asteroids to gather everything. The other one you want to pay attention to is the Starwing Strike. This is the one where you're racing the Astradelphus out through like the inside of the spaceship, going around shooting doors open, all that good stuff. This one means that you'll actually find more resources per thing that you harvest out here in the asteroids. So if you're able to finish these two missions, which having a full game day and these races only take a few minutes if you get comfortable with them, to finish you can knock both of these out and then come out here and harvest. And what that's going to do is make it so not only are you going to harvest more stuff, but you're also, the resource respawn is going to kick up even higher. Combine that with a strider with the excavation rig on it, and if you don't know how to tame a strider, definitely check our 101 or our taming video on taming tech striders. It will be super useful. And they're slow and it's a pain in the butt getting them out here, but if you can get them out here ahead of time, it's going to save your butt in the long run, and it's going to save you a lot less stress. So first and foremost, mutagen out here in the asteroid belt during white drops. That's what's going to happen. They're going to look like rocks just like this guy right here. That is where you're going to find it. There are two other places that we're going to talk about that are both in the same general biome, which is not going to be very much fun, but we are going to go over it. Alright, your two other options are going to be out here in Rockwell's garden biome, this beautiful location, which honestly, it's creepy, but it's beautiful. I really think it's a gorgeous biome. Anyway, all that aside, looking at about 50, 29-ish for the entrance to this guy. pretty much dead center in the trench, almost dead center in the trench. There's going to be 2 ways to come in. There's one here, and then down a little ways down there towards kind of where that balcony juts out. There's another entrance where you can hook back in. They both lead into the same biome, and it's pretty cut and dry about how it works. This biome is very dangerous. This is Rockwell's proliferation. Rockwell's innards. Everybody calls it Rockwell's innards. Good lord. Pronunciations are not my strong suit. Anyway, so once we come down in here, this is a very dangerous biome for a lot of different reasons. As you can see, it's kind of loading in on me. I'm running single player here. You have a lot of dangers. So Reapers can potentially show up down here. You get a lot of the angry bugs. You get mantis and arthropluras and titan boas and scorpions are down here. Noglins are also down here as well. That can potentially mind control you. They're a little nasty. You'll get seekers that'll be out here. You'll get a weird insect swarm that's out here as well. There's a lot of nasty stuff down here, and I'm down here with like a leave me alone admin command on, so the majority of the stuff is going to leave me alone, with the exception of these guys. Whenever you get close to them, they're going to spawn and come out of the ground, and they're either going to try to shoot you or smack you when you get close. If they shoot you, it's going to disengage any tech abilities for a certain amount of time, so you're not going to be able to fly through with the tech armor. So if you're trying to fly through, make sure you're staying careful of these guys. You cannot have admin commands on, so obviously it's not affecting me. You can shoot them and they'll kill them and eventually go away. The problem is that they will continuously respawn. Not incredibly fast. It'll definitely give you some time before the next wave comes in, but they will spawn in and they will try to beat you up. Combine that, like I said, with, you know, all the nasty insects and these guys, these swarms out here that'll try to come after you, and then these lovely creatures, which are a pain in the butt. These summoners are an interesting concept. They look like weird squid things floating around out here. If you get caught in the light of this guy, he will like get a force field around him, which is a pain in the butt to kill him because you have to hit him between the force fields going off. But he'll also summon a bunch of stuff in to come in there and try to kill you. So when you're navigating through here, don't get caught in that light because it's all bad if you do. So there, again, 2 ways to get Mutagen Mutagel in here. One of which will also provide you with the plant R seeds, and the other is just kind of a dangerous concept. So as we can see, these things are following me around. I have not figured out anything that will dodge these tentacles. I've tried ghillie armor, I've tried bug repellent. Helena, will you shut up? I'm trying to talk. Just quiet. Just blah 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 blah. We get it. Shooting a video. Get out of here. Mind your business. Anyway. Bug repellent doesn't work, cactus broth doesn't work, ghillie armor doesn't work. I've tried so many different ways of camouflaging myself to these things. Even with admin commands on, these guys still attack me, obviously. Everything else out here ignores me, except for those guys. They still come after you. So there's really not much you're going to be able to do about those. But what you're looking for out here on the ground, and they won't always be out here, but here they are. When you get close, you usually see some sort of dialogue from Rockwell, blah 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 blah. Alright, so option 1, after all that dialogue is over with, you'll see these guys lighten up, and you'll have the option to just walk over and pick them up. And you'll just straight get mutagen. You'll also get some plant art seeds of different types as well. The thing to be careful about this is as soon as you pick this up, I can't see one right now. The summoners will immediately aggro on you. So if you're down here to pick these guys up, you probably want to pick them up and run. But you can just pick them up and usually start a dialogue with Rockwell every time you do it. It'll usually give you an R seed as well. So we grab this guy. It gives me a plant R seed of 1. And as you can see, this guy is already aggroed. They're already aggroed on me. Again, I have admin commands on, so this isn't going to last. They're going to de-aggro almost immediately. But everything's going to come after you. So if you see one of those, be prepared to grab it and run. That's your best bet. Summoners are a pain in the butt to get rid of. You can do it, obviously, if you're patient and agile, but it is kind of a pain. Long story short, focus on the summoner when the shield goes down and kill it off. That's one way of getting it. Now, the nice thing about getting those bulbs is that you're getting straight mutagen. You're not having to harvest the mutagel to turn into mutagen. You're just getting straight mutagen off the break. And like I said, you also get one of these plant species, different R seeds as well. Probably going to do another video based specifically on those seeds and how they work and what they do. So that's option 2 of finding just straight mutagen out here. They are in pseudo random places, but again, you'll see them just kind of scattered around. You pick them up, you'll get one, you get a random plant or species seed, and that'll be it. So slight kind of spoiler alert if you're looking for all the cool surprises, as if you already probably, I think most people have kind of already found it. Rockwell's innards is where you're going to find the boss, where you're going to fight the boss at. So the boss summoning pad is down here, and this is the very bottom of Rockwell's innards. You'll use this teleporting summoner pad to go fight the Rockwell boss. Out here in this area, you might find a couple more of those mutagen bulbs. You'll also find reapers, so be careful of that. But predominantly what we're looking for is this pit just below all this nonsense. So down here, which really the only way to get down here on foot would be to come down this little ramp down here towards the bottom. This acid pool. So as you can see, this acid pool is receding. You're still going to have to deal with these tentacle guys. Kind of a pain in the butt. Again, I have admin commands on, so I don't have to worry about it. But when the acid recedes, you're going to see mutagen bulbs, mutagel just sitting here. You can just harvest it by hand. You can use the mining laser. You can harvest this with a whip. Anything that harvests this, you can harvest this with a great many things, but it's only going to give you one per every time you do this. Now, as soon as the acid starts, you want to get back out of this. The acid will do a burn damage to you and kill you. Not quite as fast as lava will, but it'll kill you pretty quick if you're just hanging out here. But as you can see, it kind of ebbs and flows up and down. So the trick is come in, grab a couple, run back out, come in, grab a couple, run back out. This can be tiresome as well for the same reason, because you're constantly coming up and down to grab this, and then the acid comes back up, and then you're starting all over again. It's frustrating. It can be super frustrating. Now, there is one method of doing this that, I'll be honest with you, the prep work to getting to it is a giant pain in the butt. It's a giant pain in the butt, the prep work of actually doing it. But if you can manage it with some tribe mates, you can manage to come out of here with a pretty decent amount of mutagen. What I mean by that is, by somehow, and it's not easy, you can bring a tech strider down into this place. Now, if you're running mods and you can pick up dinos like that and drop them off when you get down here, that's easy. But on something like official settings, this isn't going to be easy to do. Definitely bring a group of people down here, some guys to sit here and shoot these tentacles, and then one person on the excavator rig of the strider. What the strider will do if you park, and you can kind of see where I'm at, that's the ramp that comes down. If you have a strider parked right here, the strider with the excavator rig will pick up all of the mutagel on the ground down here, and it'll even pick it up through the acid, so you don't have to step down here, and you don't have to wait for the acid to fall down. And really, the tentacles in front of you aren't that big of a deal, because you can easily shoot them. They don't do a whole lot of damage. The striders have a decent amount of health. That's not a big deal. But more importantly, what you want to pay attention to is this tentacle that spawns right here behind you all the time. The problem with this tentacle is every now and then it'll hit you into a knockback, and if your strider is over here, it can quite easily knock you right down into the acid. So having some tribe mates just to watch your back is incredibly useful down here. Really, you just want to have a tribe mate watching this tentacle spawn when it spawns in, and then kind of picking these tentacles off as they spawn back in to try to hit you. You can sit down here with a tech strider with an excavator rig and just grab this mutagen as it spawns in. And again, because you're picking it up so quickly, you're going to get it pretty quick. If you can combine this with the mission about natural resources replenishing faster, you can harvest quite a lot of this at one time. And as you can see, there's a lot of bulbs down here. And the nice thing about the excavator rig on the strider is that it will pick up a huge chunk of this at a time. So within a reasonable amount of time, you can actually have a lot of mutagel. Trade-off, the bad part is that you would have to lumber a strider on official anyway. You'd have to lumber a strider all the way down here, which is going to be incredibly difficult. But if you're looking for a way to get a whole lot faster, I would advise tech strider either down here by this pit or out in the asteroid field. The only time I honestly say grab the bulbs out there is if you just wanted to plant R seed. I really wouldn't go out and grab those bulbs simply for the fact of just getting mutagel that way. I think it's an unnecessary risk, mainly because of how much attention it draws to yourself every time you pick one of them up, and you're really only getting one every time you do it. So I don't advise that one. But like I said, if you're looking for those plant R seeds, then sure, of course, go down that route if you want. Outside of that, I wouldn't recommend it. This biome is risky, so I would say as far as safest routes, your asteroid belt is the first one to go to. To also talk about that asteroid belts, during times where there are black pearls out there that you can harvest by hand, you have a small chance of grabbing some mutagen while you're out there as well. So you could get it out there at that time as well. So safest place to do it is in the asteroid belt. Really the only thing you'd have to worry about is potential void worms out there periodically, but with some decent firepower you can drop them fairly quickly. If you're looking for more of a risky payoff, but it does pay off, bringing a strider down here, and maybe not even a strider, just come down here with a tech suit and the mining laser and just have a team of people down there. Teamwork is definitely the name of the game, I think, with harvesting that stuff down here. But those are really the three: the asteroid belt, picking up mutagen bulbs down here in Rockwell's innards, or waiting for the acid to receive right underneath the boss summoner and doing it there. I've checked multiple other places where we have this acid that comes in and out, and I don't see the bulbs ever showing up anywhere else. Even out here, I don't see the bulbs, like, just when this acid comes back and forth. I don't ever see mutagen out here. I don't ever see it out here. I'm not sure why. That seems to be the only place is by that boss summoner, and that's it. I don't ever see it anywhere else out here, so that's probably the only option. But anyhow, safest place out in the asteroid belt. Anyway, survivors, that's about it. Pretty quick and simple, but I did want to share those ideas with you. The only thing that I could not stress enough is these missions that I was speaking about. These missions, I've tested it quite a few times, and there's a distinct difference when I go out and harvest anything. Not even mutagel or element shard, but anything. There's a distinct difference when I can finish these missions beforehand versus when I don't. And if you get good at these race missions, they're really not that difficult, at least to do the gamma. We talked about this as well during the 101 for like the space biome, but it applies here as well. So again, you want to pay attention to the slipstream sweep, the one that'll increase the natural resource replenish, and then if you're going to harvest stuff out in the asteroid belt, is the star wing strike as well. Those two are really going to be the kicker for you. Highly advise those. The other one that you could try to do, and this is the star dolphin. This is the one where you race the dolphin through a mission, shoot a bunch of stuff, and you actually have to fight something at the end of it, so it's not an actual race mission. The star dolphin one is not too bad either, because the harvesting health increases on resources too, making them more durable, so you end up getting more resources out of all of it, and a lot of these things stack on top of each other. The only reason why I don't break up the star dolphin one too much is mainly because it takes significantly longer to do, and if you're trying to line your time up with harvesting stuff out in the asteroid belt, it might not, depending on how quick you can get this done, it might not behoove you. Now, if you have a good tribe of people to come in, at least 4 people to go in and take that out, then you can probably do it fairly quickly, and then I would say go for it. But if not, I wouldn't advise it. I would just do the other 2 race missions, because it's just, you can do it solo, they're fairly easy to master, and you can get it down pretty quick. But those are pretty much the only missions that apply to. Everything else is going to be a little bit different, and I think eventually we might do a 101 as far as these missions, and probably when to do them and what they're going to do for you. But those harvesting missions that we talked about are going to save your butt in the long run. I would highly advise using those whenever you're harvesting anything. Like I said, there's a definitely distinct difference. But anyway, mutagen, mutagel, that's how you're going to get it. That's how you're going to make it. If you're actually going to make the mutagen on, let's say, like by yourself, if you have all the mutagel, you're going to need a chemistry station to do that. And again, it's 800 for 6, so the ratio is pretty low. You're going to be doing a lot of this harvesting, depending on how much of this stuff you want to use on your tames. But anyway, guys, that's where to get it. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys on the next one.